I think it was a sense of being challenged, and also it was an opportunity to motivate myself to really put a lot of effort into writing the case to make it the best that it could be. I didn't know about this competition until I was actually starting to write the case and thinking about where might I try to publish it, and was looking at different opportunities, and then came across the competition. And once I saw that, I thought, oh, well, that looks kind of fun and challenging, and it also gives you a deadline, so you're motivated to achieve a certain time frame as well. So, I was really honored to win. You know, the letter that I received saying that I had been selected as the winner indicated there'd been a lot of cases submitted with this competition, and so it was really, I was honored to win, and I guess sort of self-proud that I'd put in the effort and that it had paid, you know, that it had done well, that it was rewarded, I guess. So I think students find it compelling because they can easily put themselves in the role of the employees who perceive something in the workplace is causing harm to them. And you know, this could happen in lots of kinds of workplaces. So they can sort of imagine what might it be to be an employee who's worried about the workplace causing harm. And then with the teaching note, there are links to 2 news broadcasts that are related to the events that were going on in the case. And there you can see the university chancellor being challenged by employees, you know, that she's not doing, you know, she needs to make an ethical decision and not just worried about cost. And you can see sort of the emotional, the impact on her, and she's tired. She looks tired. And I think, so then the students can put themselves in that role. What if I was a manager being challenged in this way by my employees, or having employees who are concerned about this kind of thing? So they can put themselves easily, I think, in the role of the employee, and easily in the role of the manager who has to manage this whole situation. And one of the things I ask students to do is to develop a management plan, you know, a 3 to 5 point management plan, work in a group. How are you going to address this? And it's then when they start really thinking about it that, and as I walk around the room and talk to people and they're discussing what is their management plan, I often get this, you know, this is really hard, you know. So it's one thing to watch something on the news. It's another thing to think, how would I really address these employees? What would I do in this situation? So, so lots of emotion, lots of drama in this case. And I think you can sort of imagine being in the various positions and thinking, how would I feel and what would I do and what would I want? And what's the right thing? Because there's no obvious right thing in this case. So it makes for a lot of good discussion in the course, in the classroom. I think having those 2 news broadcasts is really nice because I usually start the classroom session with those 2 broadcasts. So we watch those. There's also a link in the teaching note to, I assume it was a student documentary that was made at the time, and so you get some really nice clips of interviews with faculty and students in that. So, you know, through those things, the students meet the actors who are involved in the case. So I think that really helped. And then there's just so much information available because the university has published lots of information about this and communications going back and forth. So, you know, having a very transparent decision process that they were going through, or risk management process they were going through, but it gives me, as a researcher who was writing the case, lots of materials that I could use and draw on to write the case. My first piece of advice would be to take your time, that it takes time to develop a case. So with this case, I really developed the case and the teaching plan, which then evolved into the teaching note, over a few years, and really developed the case before I started writing at all. So the writing was secondary. And of course, maybe this case, I could do that with better than some. So it would depend on the kind of case you're doing. Maybe that's not possible if you're working with a company and interviewing people and need to start with the written document. But in terms of, writing a case to be published, I would say really work on it in the classroom before you take the step of trying to write it up for publication, because I think there's the development stage and then there needs to be the writing stage. Second piece of advice I think would be to really read other teaching notes, because I think the teaching note is so important to developing the case. It helps you think through what are the models or theories or ideas that I would use with this. And it allows you to sort of write out a plan. It gives you, thoughts on how you run it in the course room. So yeah, my second piece of advice would be to read other teaching notes very carefully and find some that you like, that you think are really effective for you to be learning from someone else, and then use those maybe as a model or for ideas on how do you write a teaching note, because I think that's a really critical part of case writing, is that teaching note.